This film aims to give you an overview of what to think about if you are considering a home birth. We always recommend speaking to your doctor or midwife when making decisions like these, as they support you in making an informed choice about what is right for you and your baby.
You can give birth wherever you want, is the honest answer. There are recommendations that we would make with regards to any risk factors, but for an uncomplicated pregnancy, really you have the option to deliver anywhere you want. Home delivery, midwifery-led unit, or an obstetric-led unit if that's the recommendation for your pregnancy, but it really depends on your individual preference and your particular pregnancy.
Is giving birth at home safe? If this is not your first baby, if your pregnancy is straightforward, planned home births are linked to fewer interventions. The chances of your baby having medical problems are the same as if you plan to give birth in a hospital obstetric unit. If this is your first baby, there is a slightly higher risk of your baby having medical problems than with planned hospital births. You are more likely to be transferred to a hospital than people who have given birth before. You can talk to your community midwife or doctor, or visit the link below if you'd like further information. nice.org.uk/guidance/NG235.
For an uncomplicated pregnancy, home birth is very much an option. It allows women to feel more comfortable in their own environment. We see women who need very little pain relief. There's a lack of intervention required. Women report just feeling more comfortable in their own surroundings. It's personal choice at the end of the day, so it's entirely up to the pregnant person and their family.
It was a lovely experience. Obviously I've got nothing to compare it to, I've never given birth before, but I personally think as nice as it can be. The midwives had dropped off kind of the emergency kit and then the gas and air and things like that prior. They were only on call for me from 39 weeks and luckily Connie came at exactly on 39 weeks. If I'd given birth the day before, I would have had to go into hospital, so it was perfect timing. We had a birthing pool downstairs, but the midwife had said not to fill it until they arrived because it's hard to maintain the temperature. But actually, I kind of just gravitated towards my bed, and once I kind of got up there and got onto the bed, I wasn't coming back downstairs for the pool.
So we would recommend things like shower curtains to put under your sheets on your bed to protect your mattress, lots of towels for keeping you and baby warm, clearing a space for where you want to deliver, where you think you might want to deliver, although sometimes that changes, having somewhere nice and open for a pool. Some people choose to have fairy lights. We ask for no candles really because we have gases in the home environment as well, but you can get lots of little battery powered lights and things which are really nice to have. And just really anything that makes you feel comfortable and relaxed and warm and snuggly in your own home.
So I had paracetamol, unsure if that did much, but I then did get some gas and air and that really helped me. I did at one point ask for an epidural, but that didn't happen, obviously because I was at home. And in hindsight, I'm really pleased that I didn't go into hospital for that extra pain relief. I'm pleased that I managed at home with the gas and air, because it was just lovely afterwards being at home.
What pain relief can I have at home? At home you can use gas and air, a warm bath, a birth pool, a TENS machine, relaxation techniques, although you won't be able to have an epidural at home.
The home birth bag with all of the equipment in will be delivered either by the hospital's transport team or the community midwife will bring the bag out. The transport department from the local hospital will deliver the medical gases to you.
The midwives arrived at 10 p.m. and then, like I say, Connie was born at 2 a.m. So they stayed for I think it was about 2 hours-ish. They were great, they were tidying up, they took everything that they needed to with them, and kind of filling in their paperwork and their documentation and stuff, and then they just left us in bed at I think about 4:30 maybe, to just get on with it. That's the thing that's different to being in hospital, because obviously if you've got any kind of concerns or anything like that, there's a midwife there. You can pull your buzzer, you can ask for the midwife to come. I actually went to sleep, so I left Tom to just deal with Connie initially, and he just, I think, sat there and stared at her because he wasn't really sure what to do and was terrified. She just slept, and then the midwife came out again that next day in the afternoon to kind of do our initial checks and stuff like that. So we weren't on our own for very long, and we could ask her questions and stuff then.
The main reasons we stay for the length of time that we stay after a delivery is to make sure that baby's feeding in whatever way that you choose to feed your baby. So if you decide to breastfeed your baby, then we will stay and make sure that baby is attaching well and that you're comfortable with the latch until you see your community midwife at the next day. If you're wanting to feed baby with formula, then we would show you how to make up feeds, how to clean and sterilise bottles, and make sure that you're well stocked before you see another midwife.
What are the pros and cons of a home birth? Being in your own home may help you feel more relaxed. It may help you cope better with labour. You may also be looked after by a midwife you have got to know during your pregnancy. However, if you or your baby need to see a doctor, your midwife will call an ambulance and you will be transferred to a hospital obstetric unit.
Statistically, home birth is incredibly safe. Women tend to deliver much quicker and much easier and with less intervention at home. I guess with any kind of delivery there are risks involved. We are very well trained and drilled on identifying issues long before they occur. If we find that something's changing, generally we get a bit of notice for that, and we have 2 midwives there, so we always have fresh eyes looking on a situation. We have a huge amount of equipment in the home birth bag to deal with specific obstetric emergencies. If something changes, for instance, a woman decides that she would like an epidural or she would like some additional pain relief, then we would transfer the woman into the local maternity unit. A midwife would go with you, your partner would come, or whoever is your birthing support person. I suppose the main risk with a home birth is that transfer period from the home to the hospital environment. For people who potentially live in a more rural location, then certainly the transfer time needs to be a factor, but your community midwife will be thinking about that and thinking of ways that we can mitigate that risk. We would always ask you to book your delivery potentially with the local hospital if you're having a home birth. It just makes it easier in terms of transferring from a home birth to the nearest unit if there was an issue or an emergency, or if the risk factors changed.
Can I stay at home the whole time? If there are no complications, you should be able to stay at home for the whole of your labour and birth. If you need to go to hospital, you will be transferred to the obstetric unit closest to your home. So if you are choosing where to have your baby, you should think about how long a transfer to hospital would take.
I'd say do it. It was such a lovely experience. I don't think it is for everyone, and you've got to do what's right for you, but it was lovely. You're in your own place, you can eat whatever you want because you've got access to your kitchen, you can have your dogs there. It was so nice not having to sleep in hospital, and it was so nice not having to get up and leave the hospital. We were already at home in our own bed. It was lovely. Just that the midwives were really, really good, and I loved it.
When choosing where to give birth, it is important to consider both risks and benefits. If this is your first baby, a planned home birth increases the risk for the baby. There is an increased chance of transfer into hospital during labour. To help make the right decision for you, we have 2 leaflets that you might find helpful. You can ask your midwife for a leaflet. If you are a first-time mum, you can download the leaflet by scanning the QR code here. Or, if it's not your first baby, you can download the leaflet from this QR code. Remember, deciding where you give birth is your choice. We might recommend giving birth in a hospital if you or your baby needs extra care and treatment, but the choice is always yours.